Hi, obviously I'm not an artist. Apologies for no new content for a month, but I decided to have August off. In this vlog, I'm going to be discussing the time when the 9th and the 1st Space Marine chapter shared a codex, and also painting a Blood Angel and Dark Angel Intercessor. Angels of Death is the 3rd Space Marine codex released in 1996 for Warhammer 40k 2nd edition. It is a shared supplement highlighting the lore, rules and model range for both Blood Angels and Dark Angels at that time. By no means is this an in-depth critique of the codex, as there are many better channels out there for that, but rather using some of the content to discuss the models I have for this supplement, and have an initial attempt at painting my first Dark Angel using the colour scheme in the book. It might seem weird to use nearly 30-year-old images as reference, but bear with me as there is a significant change in the painting between old and new in this book. The book is broken up into the lore first, then special characters, followed by shared models, and then the big sell at the end. I have spent many videos discussing Blood Angel's lore, so I don't think I need much here, but here is a very abridged version while I paint this Intercessor. The Emperor of Mankind creates the Primarchs, his 20 generals to help crusade across space and establish the Imperium, but as infants they are all yeeted across the galaxy by the Chaos Gods. The Blood Angel's Primarch Sanguinius lands on the irradiated post-apocalyptic world of Baal, and he is found by the tribes and mistaken as a mutant due to his massive wings. But then he becomes beloved as their leader due to being a handsome badass hawk boy. He rejoins the Emperor, his Legion the 9th, and the Crusade. Half of the Primarchs go bad and attempt to destroy the Emperor and the Imperium. The Blood Angels make it to Earth to fight off the traitors, but by the end of the battle, the Emperor is mortally wounded and Sanguinius is killed by the baddest bad Primarch, Horus, and his psychic death scream forever activates the Blood Angel's genetic flaw that brings on blood drinking and uncontrollable rage. Cool, now let's do a bit of painting on a Dark Angel Intercessor while I discuss their lore. The Emperor of Mankind creates the Primarchs, his 20 generals to help crusade across the galaxy and establish the Imperium, but as infants they are yeeted across the galaxy by the Chaos Gods. The Dark Angel's Primarch Lionel Johnson lands on the death world of Caliban. He is found by a knightly order of, knights. Amongst them is Luther, to which he becomes firm friends and then clears out the monsters and warp-twisted beasts of Caliban. The Lion rejoins the Emperor, his Legion, the First Legion, and the Crusade. Half of the Primarchs go bad and attempt to destroy the Emperor and the Imperium. The Dark Angels make it to Earth, but only at the end of the battle. By the end, the Emperor is mortally wounded and Horus and Sanguinius are dead. Upon returning to Caliban, Luther and the Dark Angels stationed there fire upon the returning Lion as they have gone bad due to the Chaos Gods manipulating them. The Lion gets onto Caliban and Luther and him have a massive battle that tears the planet apart. After the smoke clears, the Lion is gone, Luther's psyche cracks, the traitor Dark Angels are scattered across time and space, and Caliban is all but an asteroid. This is where the codex finishes, but at the beginning of the 10th edition, the Lion has come back, and now looks like this. This. Looking at the Dark Angel Intercessor, we can compare him to the colour photos in the book, but as you can see, they do differ in alternative images. The Tactical and Assault Marines are dark green with some subtle age highlights compared to the high pigmented edges of the Devastator Squad, so we can assume that during 1996-ish, Games Workshop's in-house painting team decided to change how the Dark Angel's armour looked, very strange to do with this mid-edition. Really, the only unique units in Blood Angels in 2nd edition, if you don't count characters, are the Death Company. Now, I've previously done a video on the Death Company. If you haven't seen it, you should. People really seem to like it. Also, with the release of the Blood Angels range refresh and codex, 75% of the models in that video now have been replaced. As always, thanks for making Johnny-come-latelys like myself waste their finite hobby time on painting out-of-date models. The Death Company as 2nd edition are quite different to 10th edition, as they are the only Space Marine infantry models that have more than one wound. In fact, look at this stat line, 1+1 wound. The special rule, extra wound, explains this as they can continue to be played if they lose their initial wound but count as dead for scoring at the end of the game. This represents their insanity and ability to continue and move and fight if they had taken damage that would normally stop any combatant in their tracks. Today in 10th edition, this condition is represented as a 6 at feel no pain, meaning any damage allocated is ignored on the roll of a 6. They also have the frenzy rule, meaning they'll permanently be doing their ABCs, always be charging, and have to be led by a chaplain. If they don't, well, all sorts of special dice and random movement takes place. If you were curious, a movement of 4 inches was standard at the time, and the I on the stat line is initiative. This determines who goes first in the fight phase. Furthermore, they have a weapon skill of 5. This would translate to a 2-up to hit in close combat if they were fighting a standard infantry unit. My favourite and utterly broken rule here is the size at which you can take a death company. It states you can take a minimum of 5, but, and I quote, to as large as you like. Of course, that's not possible today with caps on unit sizes and etc. But Warhammer 40k in 10th edition is quite a different game, especially competitively, as it's mostly centred around point scoring through objective control. Now, the Dark Angels have their first and second company called the Death Wing and the Raven Wing. The Death Wing is made of exclusively all Terminators, painted in bone white armour, and in this edition are all the same as standard Terminator, but are immune to all psychological effects that can be applied in 2nd edition. As you may have noticed, 2nd edition was quite the different animal compared to the modern 40k. The Raven Wing are a wholly fast attack company made of bikes and land speeders, but later attack bikes, ATVs and other speeder types. They are painted jet black. As with the Death Wing, they have an identical stat line to a standard Space Marine type, in this case a bike, but have the Expert Riders and the Jink special rule. The former means that you could reroll a bike skid test, another archaic rule from 2nd edition that involves dice rolling for barreling out of control on a fast moving vehicle. The Jink rule, though, states that they are modifiers to hit the fast moving bikes when achieving high speeds. As you would expect, there are plenty of Dark Angel characters to discuss, but I think I could save that for another day, and I have just done a video on Blood Angels characters, so I'll leave them alone too. What I will do though as a bonus is display some 2nd edition vehicles I have that are in the colour section, starting with a Rhino. The Rhino is the longest serving Space Marine armoured vehicle in the chapter's motorpool. They act as an armoured personnel carrier, and in all editions to the best of my knowledge have had a carrying capacity of 10. Storm bolters for armament and auto launchers to fire grenades, which can sometimes be different variants. This type of Rhino, the Mark I, has been around since 1988, where it was then replaced by the Mark II in 2002, to which is still available today. My Rhino here has had a repaint in 2019 due to the original Blood Angels red being a different type of red. It does not have the handrails. I imagine they have long since been lost, and I replaced the original Storm bolters with more contemporary ones. I did some freehand work on the roof panels, sketching and painting a white arrow signifying a Codex compliant battle line symbol. This is actually incorrect, as I have stated in several videos now. The Blood Angels use a different colour helms rather than white symbols to identify battlefield roles. Alas, I'm in no hurry to repaint this, largely because this vehicle doesn't see a lot of tabletop time. The Whirlwind is an indirect firing artillery vehicle, which is not that common in Space Marine forces due to how they usually fight. The chassis of the Whirlwind is a Rhino, which is a standard polymer kit for the time, with a metallic turret made from 4 separate pieces. This too was repainted in 2019, and I somehow found the original decals for it and applied them as per this codex. The Whirlwind was replaced as a wholly polymer kit also in 2002, to which is still available today. However, similar artillery vehicles like the Stalker and Hunter have been discontinued. The Hunter is an anti-aircraft platform equipped with a Sky Spear missile launcher, and the Stalker is a rapid-fire anti-air platform armed with an Icarus storm cannon array. Both were removed from sale at the beginning of 8th edition, I assume due to poor sales. With both of these vehicles, I attempted shading using a fine ink pen rather than a shade, paint or wash. At the time, I thought this was quite the hack, but I've since returned to washes even after flirting with panel liner a few times. I hope you enjoyed this new format and going back in time with an old codex. Cool thing is that I can revisit aspects of this supplement in future videos. Before I sign off, the Blood Angels got their range refresh between this and my last video. It'd be nice to hear from subscribers and viewers what you thought of it. For Astraeothlomatus and the Sanguinor, it was a long time coming. Personally, I like both chaplains, but I'm very meh about everything else. But please weigh in with any thoughts and opinions you have. I'd also like to get 2 more shorter videos out this month, one that is a recent movie tie-in, and the other is a start to a new series. Anyway, please like, comment and subscribe as I continue to chronicle the collecting, construction and creating.